Okay, so we will bring the meeting, open our public hearing. Is that correct, Dale? This is we're going to do the budget first.
Correct.
Sure. So welcome everyone to the Lakeshore Hospital Authority agenda for the final budget hearing, September 22nd, 2025. I'm going to open the public hearing. We have a proposed millage rate of 0.0001 mils, the rollback rate for 25-26. Purpose of the levy is to maintain the legal standing of the Lakeshore Hospital Authority as a taxing authority. And let's see, I need to go down and we need to go to Dale. You're more familiar with this document. Can I talk you into walking through this with us?
I will be glad to, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
First of all, just to remind you, the Lakeshore Hospital Authority budget contains three funds. Those funds are healthcare, buildings, and operating. The assumptions that were made in preparing the 25-26 budget, which will, of course, will begin October 1st of 2025 and then September 30th of 2026. The assumptions were is that the authority would have disposed of all buildings owned by it by January 1. So we use that as a premise in preparing the budget. We also assumed that we would not begin construction of the primary care center until January 1 or after. So when you look at the numbers and they're prorated for a year, you understand the assumption that was made. We also included in the budget 6% COLAs for both Sonia and Dwayne. And as we discussed during the first budget hearing, that is not all for salary. Those employees are required to provide their own health insurance. And so through a COLA, we provided money where they could do and make decisions about their personal health care. The only outstanding issue that we did not address that you asked to address in the budget dealt with providing some form of medical personnel at Fort White at the health department. We are still working on that. And as I told you at the first hearing, when we do have that information, if it's something you wish to do, we'll simply have to do a budget amendment to amend it into the budget at that time. And also, just to remind you, we did discuss the request to fund EMS. And as I advised you, that ran into some legal issues. And so if you wish to assist funding EMS in the future, we're going to have a discussion about adding that to our medical assistance plan and establishing qualifications and an amount. But that's for another day, another discussion. Again, the millage rate is 1/10,000th of 1 mil. It's basically levied to preserve our slot on the tax bill. We budgeted $475 for that countywide in terms of revenue. It actually collected more than that last year, but we still budgeted this year at $475. So, Mr. Chairman, that's the overview of the proposed budget, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any comments on the budget by authority members or staff? Okay. I'm going to open up for public input on the budget in the millage rate. Mr. Loke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just got a couple of things. I know in previous meetings, the hospital authority discussed making up the loss, although they never defined what that was. But Palms Medical, once they came into operation using hospital facility authorities. Where is that in the budget? Is that in the budget?
Yeah.
No. And the reason is we only propose to get the building built, no operational expense for the next fiscal year. So it will be in the year after.
Thank you. So there's no plan for that to open up this fiscal year?
We think it's going to be a 12 month-month construction period, 10 to 12 months.
Thank you. So there's no plan for that to open up this fiscal year?
We think it's going to be a 12 month construction period, 10 to 12 months.
10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months. 10 to 12 months And my next question is, I know it was brought up at the last meeting. The $12,000 a year for rent
Mhm.
that the hospital authority is anticipating paying. I don't, maybe you can explain that, because I don't understand that and the future of that. In other words, is the hospital authority going to pay to construct an office at Palms for the hospital authority?
Well, first of all, the county's building is through the hospital authority, not Palms. Palms is overseeing the construction and will manage it. In their building, the county's building, there will be an office for the authority, assuming there's an authority left and needs an office. Until then, we anticipate we're going to pay rent. Now, we don't know where that location will be, and we really don't know the amount of the rent, but we budgeted something in anticipation of that.
So when court administration takes over this building, I believe this is court administration's building,
Right.
even though they wanted the other one somehow. Columbia County made one of their famous deals and it became this one. You guys are already here, you wouldn't even have to move most of your equipment. Court administration would make the hospital authority an accommodation.
No, we asked to remain, but they did not think that would be possible because they have to get in and do construction. So we do not believe we will be able to stay here until the primary care facility is finished.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Any other public comments on the budget and billing rate?
Mr. Chairman, if you would, it's a special meeting, so I'll make a special appearance and I have a few questions. One, how much money is still currently in possession of the authority board from the time that Shan's paid out the lump sum? And what is the difference of money that has been spent or wasted because of the city using the building department as a, for lack of a better word, a tool to sort of progress with the authority board. So I'm concerned as to what that budget amount number was that that the authority board is wasted on that. And then this proposed ideal by primary care, I remember saying at this podium, and I never remember a deal struck with Palms. Y'all said that y'all weren't going out for any more RFPs, and behind many people back, y'all did. So that shows a lack of good faith, or show bad faith, in my opinion. But I guess that would be something that legal hurdles will have to work out. But can I get an answer to that? How much money we've lost by the city roadblocking and using the building officials with the land use to stop, potentially stop the track in which Meridian was on? Because everything that I read and understood, and don't get it misconstrued. I'm an HRS kid. I'm from the good. I probably misread it, and I can't probably read that good as much as some other folks. But I want to think that I have a common sense understanding that there's different types of hospitals, right? If there's a specialty hospital, say for instance, if it was a cardiologist, he was a doctor, and that was it's called a heart hospital, right? My mama suffers from a lack of mental stability, which is paranoid schizophrenia. So she used to go to a place called the state hospital, which they deal with mental issues. So I don't understand the change in the LDR usage, because Meridian would still serve as a hospital, a specialty type hospital. So, and then seemingly y'all seem to have allowed the city to come, very disrespectful, to do what they've done and then come and ask for money. I mean, come and ask for property after the fact. But I guess that's on the agenda. I get that. Let's if you would oblige me, Mr. Chair, and tell me about how much money we've lost with the city and this hamstringing of Meridian with this LDR stuff.
I can tell you this, Sylvester, my understanding is our monthly carry fee is approximately 60,000 a month.
I'd say 50 on
50.
average.
So just, I couldn't tell you the dates, but I can tell you that the number that you would be requesting would be approximately $50,000 per month of delay.
And how many months has that been delayed?
Dale, you have a recollection? And I don't know, yeah, it's hard to just attribute that to them, but
If
Well,
I'm,
it'd be hard to contribute to them.
if I may,
If they were
Mr. Chairman,
stop.
Todd, do you remember when Mr. Rosenthal sent the letter?
October 24, 2024.
Okay, so October 24, 50,000 a month since.
Okay, so the city
3,911,
close to, it's about $550,000.
six,
So we're close $600,000.
yeah.
How do we, is there any way that the budget is able to recoup that from the city somehow?
Been pretty good stewards of investing the money that we do have. But again, I agree with you. It's been a waste of money because of the delay that has been placed on us by the city, but
So the authority board is gonna eat the city, causing this delay of almost $600,000. But if I went and remove some benches, I go to jail for a felony charge, but we're gonna just let the city misuse the LDR and cost this board $600,000. And you're telling me that this board is not gonna do anything in response to that type of money. I just wanna be on the record. You're not gonna do anything about losing that type of money because of Rosenthal using his building officials as a apparatus to stop progress. 500, almost $600,000. So, but this board voted not to do RFPs and slice other people out of the deal that was supposed to have deals with this authority board. I just want to be on the record, because I want to be on the record for a very special reason. I'm slow to the fight, slow to understand, but I typically win the war. You see how Ukraine still hanging up. Still hanging up.
a lot to unpack there, so that's,
No, it's all about, that's why we have these meetings, and that's what I love about America. You have a chance to discuss these things in the open, in the public. Don't be shamed. I mean, I know you buddies with people at the city and this and that, but this is about transparency. This ain't about friendship. It's about government. Are we gonna file something to get our money back? That's the energy that money to be used. It's people who need that money. So you're gonna just let the city just blow it? That could have been used on some sick people. That could have been used on money, hiring people to go out there and advocate in the community and get people on the indigent care program. And y'all just gonna let the city blow $600,000, and then y'all just entertain them. Next thing, last month y'all was kissing and hugging them, letting them come in y'all meeting, asking y'all for property, then backhanding and slapping and pimp slapping y'all and stuff, and then they come back and ask you for property, tie you up, have y'all go to some type of mediation.
Is that in the budget?
It's whatever.
All the stuff you're asking about?
Yes, I'm asking about the money. Yeah, the money is, but this is a budgetary issue. That's what I'm asking about money. I want to know what we're gonna do about the money that we've lost. Is there a way in the budget for legal? I mean, what are we gonna do? How we account for this? So we just, I'm just a citizen. Just want to ask some questions and know. Yeah, I just want to circle back around to me, get with Dick, get with Lakeland, and y'all send me an email answer or something, but I do expect an answer on this. Do I have my attorneys reach out to y'all attorneys and get an answer on that? How do we do it?
I would do that.
Have my attorney reach out to y'all attorneys? Okay. I'm gonna make my phone call at my attorney, and I'll reserve myself to speak on the Lake City and Lake Shore issue.
Will do. Any other public comments on the budget or the millage rate? Do we have any amendments to the proposed budget, if any? Believe so. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to adopt millage rate of 0.0001 mils for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
So move.
And Mr. Chairman, this is done as the final hearing by resolution. So technically you're doing that by adopting resolution number 2025-002. And Mr. Cannon, does that have to be read into the record?
It won't take but a second. Lakeshore Hospital Authority Resolution Number 2025-002, whereas in order to maintain the legal standing to levy millage, it is appropriate to adopt the millage rate of 0.0001 mils, which is the rollback rate for the 2025-2026 budget year. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Lakeshore Hospital Authority that the board shall and does hereby adopt and set the millage rate of 0.0001 mils to be levied for property taxes for the 2025-2026 budget year. Upon motion duly made, seconded, and carried, the foregoing resolution was adopted at a meeting of the Board of Trustees of Lakeshore Hospital Authority on September 22nd, 2025. This final millage resolution being adopted prior to the final budget resolution.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
a question for Mr. Kennan. Is that the rollback rate? Or is it just the millage rate of 0.0001?
It's a fair question. Of course, typically the rollback rate is less than the prior year's millage, but because of the number of decimal points, it's not a computable number. So based on what Mr. Powell said, we could claim it was the rollback rate.
Okay.
So if it's read in the record, do I need a second? Pretty sure.
Yes.
I'm awaiting a second from Ms. Clancy's motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the millage rate for the 25-26 fiscal year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay. The next item, motion to adopt budgets for the 25-26 fiscal year totaling $19,830,475 in appropriations and reserves. And
I'll read that into the record.
Yes, sir.
Lakeshore Hospital Authority Resolution Number 2025. I'm sorry, you can come up closer. Resolution number 2025-003, whereas the Board of Trustees of Lakeshore Hospital Authority has tentatively adopted the 2025-2026 appropriations and reserves budget of $19,830,475. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Lakeshore Hospital Authority that the board shall and does hereby adopt this 2025-2026 appropriations and reserves budget in the amount of $19,830,475. Upon motion duly made, seconded, and carried, the foregoing resolution was adopted at a meeting of the Board of Trustees of Lakeshore Hospital Authority on September 22nd, 2025. This budget resolution being adopted by a separate vote from the millage levy resolution in accordance with Florida law, and the final millage resolution being adopted prior to this final budget resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt Lakeshore Hospital Authority Resolution Number 2025-003.
Second.
have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-003. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We will now close the.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may, please, I just wanted to inform the board that I guess it's just something that I have kept up with since I was appointed on this board, which was on December 31st, 2021, rapidly approaching 4 years. And at that time, the hospital authority had $21,731,265. Now we are just approving this budget and for a total of $19,830,475. And I did not major in math, not real good, but that's about what, Mr. Williams, about $1.9 million and soon to be 4 years. Close. And yes, I too hate seeing wasting $1.9 million. And eventually soon this will come to a screeching stop. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. All right. Any other board comments before I close the hearing? Close the public hearing on the budget. Move to open We'll call to order our public hearing, let's see. Do we have any staff or trustee deletions to the agenda for the special meeting? I guess we can, or can't.
You can do deletions, not additions,
Okay,
and there are no deletions, Mr. Chairman.
all right. Move on to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is adopted. We will move on to our general public comments first. Mr. Wilk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is why I don't come to these meetings anymore. I'm not the school mom. This meeting is run under the Sunshine Law. Doesn't mean you can only have to be here and have bodies and talk in code. Means the Sunshine Law means that when people speak, people have to be able to hear them. This problem with Mr. Kennedy is not just with Mr. Kennedy. Seeing the attorneys for the hospital authority, we now have the unfortunate instance of having the LSHA Hospital Authority's former attorney now being a circuit court judge, couldn't hear him either. And of course, there were various conflicts of interest with Povoline. And while Mr. Cannon was the city attorney and the hospital authority attorney, that represented a conflict of interest into itself, which nobody ever said anything. So when Mr. Kennedy speaks, or any of you speak, you need to be heard. I'm in the front row. Right there, front row. 3 seats over from the chairman of Meridian Behavioral or Meridian Healthcare, one of those things. So he needs to be heard. And if he's not being heard, then you need to tell him to be heard. His answer is not come closer. That's not the answer. The second thing I would like to bring up, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Which I find particularly offensive, being it's a general public comment, is behavior of Don Kennedy as it relates to usurping your authority to run the meetings and his constant haranguing of Lori Chance. She's looking at him quizzically, let the record reflect that. But she's always got something to say about what she has to say, something to put her down. Pretty much what goes on in Congress right now. Mr. Kennedy has a comment, he should make his comment. His comments have nothing to do with what Ms. Chancey has to say, or Mr. Bullard has to say, or you, the chairman, have to say, even though you can't vote. Traditionally, the time is reserved at the end of board member comments for the chairman to make his remarks. Mr. Kennedy's constant thing at every meeting. I want to hear what everybody else has to say. You know, if you look at the attorney billing records, he calls the attorneys. He's in constant contact with the attorneys from month to month. He has no right to say, I get to hear what everybody else has to say. You're on the meeting. So I think they should be in some sort of order from meeting to meeting. That Mr. Kennedy should be a little bit more respectful to Ms. Chancey. And that he gets to say what he has to say when you address. Thank you, Mr. Chu.
Ms. Looker. Any more general public comments? We're starting meeting. Mr. Warren.
Then to agree, very seldom do I do this, and I think very seldom does Stu do it. I agree with Stu. This is a public meeting. And you are chair, Mr. Douglas, along with other things, and I would expect for someone of your caliber to know how to run a meeting, to know how to chair it, or get out the chair. And he's right. It is the responsibility of each and every one of y'all behind the dioceses to speak at a volume or have microphones. You got $20-some million, or you wasted $600,000 with the city, maybe having to donate y'all some microphone. But the public should be able to clearly hear any and everything that is being said. And you, as a sheriff, is supposed to make sure of that. And that should have never happened. You should have never allowed him to approach the diocese on the command of the attorney. That could have went left field and you would have been responsible for it. And he should have made Mr. Ken speak louder for other people to hear if that was the case. Not telling you how you do your job, but I think Robert Rules would agree with me as well in any other real legislating body. The problem that you continue to have in meetings like this, Mr. Chairman, and for the rest of your trust board members, y'all are what we call these good old boy goddamn buddies. And y'all are friends and clique members. And so then y'all don't want to hold each other accountable in these public settings. And I keep telling you all, I don't care how friendly y'all are, whether y'all hang out, swing with wives, or whatever y'all do after you come into these meetings.
So
Come
let's
into the, I'm
say-
using examples. I ain't called nobody name out. So don't, another thing. The chair cannot interrupt me during public comments.
I can if
You know
it's
you
true.
can. As long as I have done nothing boisterous and I have done nothing that breaks the protocol of how to conduct myself. So we got a problem, Steve? If we got a problem, we can talk about it or we can deal with it. Do we have a problem, Steve? Okay, so let me move on. Because either problem we have either on this end you won't win, nor you win on the other end. I can promise you that. So let's get back to the meeting at hand. What you cannot do outside of that is to go and do things because y'all are buddies. You have to operate within the sunshine and you have to be a real chill with your buddies or not. And furthermore, I don't think, hopefully, Don, you're not a showbiz, are you? I don't find you this. So I think that's just a little love for that you and Miss Lori got going on over there. That's just my opinion, not being comical. But bottom line is that talking to my attorney, Mr. Graham, he asked me to ask you, Mr. Chair, would you get the name and the phone number and a good email to the authority attorney and to the accountant and all of the board members so that he can reach out to you all as it relates to the issue that I brought up about the budget.
You send that over to you.
How you gonna say no?
I have your email. I can do it myself.
You got my information?
Yeah. Your phone number hasn't changed, has it?
Yeah, a lot of things. I got you blocked. You can't call me. I don't. I told you I don't fuck with you, Doug. I blocked y'all. You can't call me.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any other public comments? All right,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
may I make a comment?
please, Ms. Chance.
I am totally open to someone disagreeing with me because that's how we learn. If someone disagrees with me, then I need to look into what they've got to say to see who's right. That's a problem we have in our society today. Everybody thinks they're right and nobody else is.
Tell me about it, especially them good boys.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. Let's see, so no new business, I don't believe. And then we'll go on to our unfinished business. Let's see, I've got this and. Okay, first item, discussion and possible action. Ms. Lauren Cohn, President, CEO of Meridian Healthcare. Comments and updates on the LSHA proposal regarding the conveyance of real property. So, Ms. Lauren, if you can please address this. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees. Thank you for having me back. I wanted to give an update on the situation with the Meridian Board and the proposal that was on the table from the last meeting. The specific issue was regarding the waiver of due diligence. I think that came up. I had a chance to meet with our executive committee and prepare one meeting that's scheduled for next Monday and reviewed some of the details, specifically the due diligence. We also had a chance to speak with a couple potential financing entities that we've used in the past to consult about the inspection and due diligence period and the impact that it may have on securing financing for the renovations we've discussed. So at this point, the board, based on that information, we cannot waive a due diligence or inspection period. However, What our executive committee is proposing is that we instead begin an inspection now. Instead of waiting till the agreement is signed and then move forward with a due diligence period, that we would be willing to go ahead and begin that inspection at the present moment. We have secured a vendor that we've used in the past who has provided a quote on how much that would cost and believes that it can be done in 60 to 75 days. That's the update on that component. Respectfully, they would like to propose that we split the cost of that inspection, and then that cost that you would contribute could be recouped with the transfer of any funds as proposed. So in addition to the line items already listed on that proposal, I believe the parking lot funding and the cost of some legal fees were listed on that proposal, that any inspection costs that were shared would also be recouped in that transfer of funds. Just for your consideration.
Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Beal.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, now's the time for questions, and then we can then open it up for
Yeah.
public comments.
No, we do public comment first.
Yeah, we can. Let's do that. Thank you, Mr.
That's okay.
Moore. Yeah,
We can answer any other questions or provide any other.
if we have, if we do, we'll may bring them back up. I want to get get the public comments taken care of.
Okay,
We could.
thank you.
I've got a letter here from Miss Joyce Stevens. This is requested,
It's a swing at.
so she's gonna be on there. Go ahead, Dylan.
Okay, so Dylan Adams, so understanding is if there's an agreement or not an agreement, I'm not really sure because there's been a lot of paperwork moving back and forth. Usually things go under contract and then due diligence takes place. Usually with some kind of escrow binder and it's usually financial transfer. For them to say that they are going to split the due diligence cost if they decide to move forward, is not a typical process that takes place in commercial real estate transactions. Usually what takes place is you put it under contract, you do due diligence, and if you find that the product that you're buying doesn't make sense or doesn't suit your needs, or there's a fault in the product, you can then eject yourself from the contract and retain your escrow. And that due diligence cost is just, the cost of doing business. To ask this board to potentially take on, and there was no number placed on what that due diligence cost would be. And also take another, let's say another 6 months, because 60 days, usually things take twice or 3 times as long as we anticipate them. That would push you guys into summer of next year on a due diligence period with no contract. On the property that you're anticipating either giving to these folks, or I assume the college, to, create a scenario where, to me, it doesn't matter if it's Meridian or the college, and the college uses it as a facility for nursing training and executive administrative hospital training. Either or is fine, right? It's jobs in the community. But I think it's silly to ask the board, when you guys are stewards of public money. The other gentleman brought up a right of corporate opportunity, right? $600,000 lost in delays. So that's just another carrying cost. So you also have to anticipate your carrying cost in conjunction with splitting this due diligence that may or may not develop into a contract.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Give me 1 second. Gotten a letter from Joyce Stevens, who has a public comment. I'm gonna ask her to unmute. See if she's there. Ms. Stevens, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can. Go ahead with your comments.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak. I would just like to address the board about the handling of this Meridian situation. It's just astonishing with these issues that have been going on for an extended period far beyond 2 years. With the information available, it seems clear that the board has not prioritized the well-being of our community or its victims. And as a governing board, it is your responsibility to oversee the management of the facility and ensure that the best interest of the patient and the public are being served. A lack of attention to these concerns are very troubling. And what I would like to ask the CEO, Lauren Cohen, who has been absent in defending her company and addressing the accusations and allegations given the severity and the impact on the victims, she has not even tried to take one proactive approach to address any of these concerns. And I believe it is very essential for the CEO to be providing transparency and accountability. I would hope that she would have at least provided some insight into her perspective and actions regarding this matter. And given the CEO's inability to defend her organization, I question whether she is even fit to take over such a huge hospital, especially an inpatient psychiatric care center. She also now serves on the board of directors of the Mental Health Risk Retention Group through Burlington, which is a liability insurance group for behavioral health care organizations owned by policyholders offering professional liability, general liability, directors, and officer liabilities. Also, at this very moment, there are 64 job openings at Meridian. If they cannot hire 64 employees, why do you think that they're going to be able to hire over 100 employees for this new hospital? So just letting you guys know, when this crashes and burns and more people get hurt, at least the people spoke, and the board will be to blame. I myself, Joy Stevens, will never stop using my voice to protect and educate everyone about Meridian and who they really are. Name change or not, they will always stay the same: greedy, unprofessional, dangerous predators to both people with mental health crisis and substance abuse. And that's all I got to say. And I'd hope that she would speak up one day. That'd be wonderful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Any other public comments? Or Mr. Warren?
As it relates to Meridian, and I'm supportive of Meridian. And I think I expressed this very, very early on, after the board was unwilling to give the college the property and the money. I was very much so in favor of Dr. Berry first, because we didn't have Meridian as a potential. They were like the first ones that came in and asked for it. We said, we're not going to give them the building and money. So we had to go to something else. And so there's something else that makes sense for where I live at, right? Where it's going to be most effective at, and where none of you all will ever see the operation take place, because you very seldom come up here. If it ain't the courthouse, you very seldom, none of you live here. So it's my community, meaning the predominantly Black community, District 10, it's going to be affected by Meridian. I don't disagree that bad things happen inside of good operations, good hospitals, good business, good corporations. And that is something that if something bad happened, I think that people, family members or whatnot, need to get attorneys, and that's something they need to litigate with the organization about. But I don't think this is an opportunity to litigate with Meridian. I don't think there's nobody. And you can fact check me if I'm wrong. I don't think no one has been to Meridian more than my mother, Joanna Woon. And so, and I could not have a problem with Meridian. And I can promise you, if y'all had mistreated my mama, the consequences would be very great. And so, I think that to have a mental health hospital close by is a great idea. The last thing that I would want in a community where I was born and raised, invested in, which I have millions of my own personal money invested in my community, which is a predominant Black community. I don't want another damn abandoned empty building where prostitution and the ideal of little children getting snatched, and next thing you know, all type of ungodly things will be going on over there in an abandoned building, unless y'all decide to level that building if nobody wants it. But it's just too much non-activity taking place. And if they have a 64 job gap, and that's a good thing. That means that we got some lazy ass people that ain't looking for a job, and I don't think that falls on them. I think people need to get off certain systems, that's able bodies, and can't make the excuse that there's not any employment. So I make sure I put that on my social media page that y'all are hiring. I think that's a good thing. And if it's gonna bring 100 more jobs, that's even better. So I'm in full support of it. I am not now. Even though I said some great things about Meridian, I'm with Mr. Adams. I don't play about my money or the people money. Now, in due diligence, that has to come out of your pocket. That's a straight real estate deal. My girlfriend is a licensed Florida broker. If you buy a house, you buy anything. I bought commercial properties, Greyhound, but hey, you pay for the inspections, you pay for the due diligence, you put that in the contract. When the contract is signed, something goes wrong, you pop out of it. Now, what this board may need to do, and just bear with me for a few more seconds, what this board may need to consider doing, right? Stop the procrastination, right? That's been going on for too long, and we bled almost $2 million. Y'all played around with other RFP people. I won't get into the name calling that I know very personally that I'm very upset about, and I'm gonna deal with y'all on that. But y'all have played around with Meridian for far too long, for far too many reasons, trying to appease friends and play politics. Sign the contract. What is preventing y'all from signing the contract and get this thing on underway if it's real? If it is a real concept and the board truly wants to do it, nothing is stopping neither side from signing an agreement and making it official. Because all I keep hearing is that Meridian ain't coming. The deal ain't gonna work out. The city done stopped it. What do we really have? Nothing but uncertainty from a board that the governor chose that shows little to no responsibility. You care more about playing friends and good old boys than handling the public affairs and the business in which you were delegated to this board to do. Do your jobs. Sign the contract and let's get it over with. If Meridian is going to be the holder, let's do it. 2 years, 3 years, Meridian, no, Meridian, yeah, college, yeah, no. Oh, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Do you? You know what's going on?
Yes,
What's going on?
a lot. Appreciate it, Mr. Moore.
I didn't sign a contract. There ain't nothing going on without a contract.
There any further public comments? Well, Joe, you one. Oh. That's right, Mr. Jen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm confused. I don't know. I'm looking at this agenda here. It says discussion of possible action. Lauren Cohen, president, and Ms. Cohen is an ice cream. So everybody knows. Respect my name. You're welcome. But we don't even know it says conveyance of real property. It says comments, updates on the proposal. Just heard a few minutes ago that Ms. Cohen spoke to the board and they went into this not doing their own due diligence, as Mr. Adams explained, and Ms. Cohen explained. So my question to you is, Mr. Beal wants to rush into this and we make these comments before, and as I mentioned before, and I'm not the school more, when the hospital authority attorney, Todd Kennedy, was at the city, he announced that public comment went after the motion and the second was made toward the board. That this was brought up at the League of Cities, apparently Mr. Kennedy experienced a bout of amnesia and doesn't remember that. This is not rocket science. You know, Mr. Beal shouldn't have brought that up, and there is no proposition before the board, so how does the public even know what to speak about? You heard Mr. Warren go on for maybe 10 minutes, sign the contract, but that's not on the agenda. As far as I can tell, sign the contract. Maybe it is. We heard Ms. Cohen say, we're not ready to sign any contract because we have to do our due diligence. Because who would lend them money and not know what the condition of the hospital was? And at the beginning, I was the one that sent all the records that I had to Don Savoy when he had trouble getting them from the hospital authority, according to him. I sent them to him, and I have those emails. So this whole thing has been messed up since the beginning, since for years. But again, I respectfully request that you go by Robert's rules and common sense, that you guys make a proposition so that the public can talk intelligently about it. so that Ms. Cohen can talk intelligently about it, that Mr. Warren or any member from the public can talk intelligently about it. Or anybody that comes to these hospital authority meetings can talk intelligently about a proposition before the board. Because I don't know that anybody knows what this proposition is going to be. According to FB 50, the public has a right to speak on a proposition. After numerous years since 2013, everyone has pretty figured out that unless that proposition is in writing, and if it gets changed, then the public gets another opportunity, and I'll be brief on this, then they have the right to speak on that again. And there's bar review articles about that. This thing has been hashed for the last 2013, for the last 12 years. Everybody pretty well knows what it is. And I respectfully point out to you, Mr. Chairman, that the only communities, the only public boards that have a problem enforcing the intent, it's 950, 603, Mr. Kennedy. The only people that have problems with this are recalcitrant boards that don't want to let the public comment on what is legally coming before the board. And this board continues to do that in its state of being illegally composed because you don't have somebody from the hospital authority, from the hospital on this board. Just add to this, being this is still about Meridian, that I got an email from the city regarding this. That the city, I'm just gonna get equal time, this is my last thing. I know. And I'm informing you that the city has given up on any sort of legal actions.
Sure, that's the next
The
item.
LSHA Hospital Authority. And I'm done. But I would just like to know why Mr. Beal decides to speak up when I speak and when nobody else speaks. It's a little odd, and he does it every
Because it's
time.
on the next
Thank you
item.
very much.
It's on,
Chair.
it's the
Thank
next
you.
item that we're talking
Thank
about. That's why I
Thank
spoke
you,
up,
Mr.
Mr.
Logan.
Wilker,
Thank you very much, Chairman. Generally,
because it's the next
get
item.
recognized to speak, Mr. You didn't get recognized.
He doesn't do a good job running the meetings. Sorry, Stephen.
All right. We exhausted public comment.
Harry,
All right. Welcome board,
Chair.
Bill.
I believe in our August meeting, we instructed or asked legal counsel to let Meridian's legal counsel know that they could start their inspection period at any point in time if they want, whenever they were ready to. I hope that that's still the case and that was relayed. I'm personally not in favor of splitting the cost, even though it could be deducted from the amount. Unless we do it, and if it doesn't go through, it's repaid to us, I would be fine with that. If we need some money up front. Number two, I would like for them to start on it as soon as possible, so that way it doesn't go past 60 days, as that's what we had originally agreed upon in the agreement. So if Meridian thinks that it's gonna take 60 to 75 days, I would hope that they could start their inspections tomorrow. And then also one more thing, I hope that by October 13th, our next meeting, I would hope that I would insist that everything be done and complete by the time we adjourn that meeting. I don't hope, if it's not done by that meeting, I think we move forward. I want it to happen, but we've got to put a hard deadline on it. Meridian's board meets, so I think we need to discuss whatever we need to discuss tonight to give Meridian the answers that they need, so Ms. Cohn can go back to her board. And if they have to come back with anything, come back with an exhaustive list that this is what my board says we have to have, and then we agree or we disagree with it, and that's it. I'm just ready for it to be done. I'm very supportive of it. I'm just ready for it to be done. That's all of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beal. Any thoughts, board? Ms. Chancey, you have anything
I'm
to say?
tired of giving them and giving them and giving them. If I receive a gift from somebody, I look at them and say, thank you. I don't say, what else have you got for me?
Yeah. Fair enough. Oh. Mr. Kennedy, do you have thoughts?
Well, Ms. Chauncey, I appreciate you speaking up and listening to your comments, and I have never been disrespectful to you.
I don't feel you.
Okay, good. I appreciate that because
It may appear that way to other people, but I haven't.
I've always respected a lady, and especially one a couple years older than me.
Oh, thanks a lot.
But yes, I've listened to Mr. Beal and I've listened to Ms. Chauncey, and I have to agree. We wrote a letter on August the 20th. Our executive director, and in here, we talked about the incentive package that we were willing to provide and still willing to provide. And we also talked about the agreement to sign and accept the agreement for the conveyance of real property by October 31, 2025. Now, tonight, we're hearing that it's going to take 60 to 75 days, which I'm not, again, very good at math, but that's going to put us probably till Christmas time before we know anything. And as far as participating in the feasibility calls, I'm not a lawyer. I have no idea. I listened to the comments from our fine members of the community, and I can appreciate everything that they've said, but I don't quite know about it. But I would like to see that as we complete this, Meridian has a board meeting on Tuesday, September the 30th. I know that Ms. Cohn has spoke to her executive committee, and I assume that consists of 3 or 4 of the board members. And I assume that hopefully they can sell this idea to the rest of the board on the 30th. And I'm hoping that on the morning of October the 1st, which is next Wednesday, that they can call and say that they are proceeding to go with their feasibility period, which will take 60 to 75 days before Christmas. And as far as splitting the cost, I'm afraid that if we split the cost, and I'm so optimistic about Meridian getting in that hospital. I've been on this board now for almost 4 years, and all I have heard is Meridian. I go to bed at night saying Meridian in my sleep. And but if we split this cost and they walk away from the project after realizing that their board has come back and said it's going to cost us too much money over the 3, 4, 5 year project to get the 4 floors operating and walk away, then we're tied up for another X number of dollars. And I got a problem with that. Now, if there's something legally that we can say that if we split this feasibility cost and you walk away, then you have to pay us back that money that we just spent, then I'm in favor of that. Or if we want to look at the incentive package, including a portion of that cost, then I'm in favor of that too. But as far as agreeing that we'll split the package, I'd rather Meridian say next Wednesday, Mr. Williams, we're walking away from it then, so we can move forward beginning October the 2nd. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Kennedy?
But I'd love to hear other people's comments.
So that's the October the 30th is when your board is meeting to decide on the.
September 30th.
September.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You said October 30th. It was like, hang on.
Did I? I did. If
I wrote it down.
I was thinking of Halloween.
We are meeting again on Tuesday, but our executive committee is 6 members of the board. And they've already approved moving forward with the inspections. So I know as Mr. Beal mentioned, we did speak about that, but it could have just been the confusion with is that offer still on the table with the new proposal? And the reason they're proposing that is because beginning it now should expedite things. If we did not sign until October 30th and then entered a 60-day period at that point, that wouldn't start till then. So if we could go ahead and begin that, move forward, letting our, team know we're gonna go ahead and start that process. 60 days from now is still sooner than 60 days from October 30th. So that was the reason we were proposing to begin.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Beal,
just to clarify, that's what I meant by starting it now. That way, if we sign it, I mean, I would like to sign it October 13th, the day after our meeting. But if we have to wait till the 30th for some other reason, that's fine. But to me, we had 60 days in the original agreement. We asked to do away with it. I completely understand why you can't. That makes sense. But I would still like for it to remain at 60 days. Now, if you start 15 days before that and it takes 75 days, as long as that feasibility study is done within 60 days after we sign the contract. So if you start now, you have 75 or more days to complete that, is my thought process. But I would like Meridian's board to give us a final answer on everything they have to do, so that way when we meet again on the second Monday of October, we can say yes, or we can say no, we do it, and then we sign the contract. I don't know why we would have to wait until October 30th. At that point, I think that just kind of gave us a buffer to do any
Yes, well,
final
I think
negotiations.
there's still the outstanding issue with the city. I believe they have not yet completed that. They tabled that, so I think there's still that issue pending.
That is correct. They're waiting on Meridian to give us a firm, we're ready to sign the contract and move forward as written.
Well, that won't be until after the feasibility study.
No, they could still be ready to sign the contract as written, doesn't mean they're gonna take it. The contract doesn't say that they have to take it. It gives them a 60-day feasibility study to back out.
60 days were included.
So
The
if-
ask was that if we waived the 60 days, the counter was, well, then let's go ahead and do the inspection now. If the 60-day due diligence period is still included in the agreement, then the board can review that as well.
I would like to see Meridian start their feasibility study tomorrow. Their board meet next Tuesday to discuss any final whatever to give us the go ahead on how the next day. It's their 31 October 1st. I believe, unless there's 31 days in September. My brain's not working. It's been a month. On October 1st, and then Mr. Kennan tell the city they're ready to sign it. If you have any other tricks up your sleeve, now's the time to do it. We should have went to court months ago with them. We were told that it would be tied up in court. Well, hell, we'd be done with it by now. I guarantee it. It's a whole different story. But if they can start their feasibility study now, their board meets next Tuesday, comes back and says, we're ready to sign the agreement as written. I'm fine with keeping the 60 days in there. They start it now, that gives them 75 days, just a couple extra, an extra 2 weeks. That's fine. And then we meet on the 8th and say, okay, we're ready to sign. The 11th, whatever day we meet, 13th, same thing.
I know this is the next agenda item, but I'm not sure if the city has given any indication as to how soon, once you let them know all parties are ready, how soon that could be.
Well, I'm hoping they'll put it on their first, well, probably not the first, because that would be October 1st, so I'm assuming it would be October 15th.
Put a subject to in the agreement.
Subject to,
Meridian could put a subject to the city's approval.
well, they still have 60 days to back out in the feasibility study, so. I mean, sign the agreement. Hell, we can sign it tonight. If Ms. Cohen's comfortable signing it, And that gives 60 days from tonight for them to still back out. And the city says, okay, they're serious. They signed the agreement. Let's sign it. Bring it out.
Yeah, can we execute? And that's the question.
And I understand Ms. Cone may want to talk to her
Yeah.
full board,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, we need to tell the city after their meeting on the 29th,
Yeah.
we need to tell the city, put it on your agenda now. They're gonna decide if they're ready to sign it or not. And then if they come back after their meeting on the 29th and say no, then we move on. So we need to tell the city it needs to be on their next agenda regardless, because we'll have an answer from Meridian by then. It's either a yes or no.
Is the city maintaining that they're withholding their
The
decision?
city maintained that we asked them to be involved according to their attorney, and I don't know where the hell that came from. That was completely black.
What I'm saying
We
is,
never asked them.
but didn't their letter say that they're withholding their decision?
Mr. Chairman, that's the next item on discussion.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll
sorry.
get into that.
We're-
Yeah. But I do have, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yeah,
be recognized, please, by Robert's rules. As far as I believe I understand what Mr. Bill is saying. And I guess I need to ask Ms. Cone, your executive board, which consists of 6 of your board members, how many board members do you totally have?
Oh,
12?
13.
13. So they would be in agreement to sign this agreement as written, as long as we resolve the next item on our agenda tonight.
That was not presented for approval at that, so I mean, I have to.
But you will discuss that on the 30th,
Right.
not the
What
29th.
was discussed at the committee was the proposal as offered.
Yes, the letter that was written.
Right, and the due diligence period requesting, can we waive that? So that was the discussion. The board had expressed in the past that we couldn't consider the agreement at the point because the city had not yet resolved the issue that was still outstanding.
So could we add, I'm
No,
sorry.
yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Bill.
Mr. Bill.
I'll yield, Mr. Bill.
Thank you.
Can we ask, can I beg you to ask your board to approve in theory? And let's just pretend that the city's not involved. Would they approve that? Would they approve that as written if the city's not involved? And I fully understand
Yeah.
that there is a catch, but you still have that 60-day feasibility study. If everybody else agrees with me, keep the 60 days in there. Let's sign the agreement. If the city says, oh, no, y'all still want us to be involved, then you can back out. But the city is playing they're playing checkers and trying to continue to stall it, when really and truly now we're going to lay our cards down and say, the agreement is as is, here you go. And if you agree to it and we agree to it, the city has to give an answer. Otherwise, we take it to court and let the court decide.
Good point. Mr. Kennedy.
Well, I don't. That crosses that hurdle
That will be presented at our next board meeting on Tuesday then.
on Tuesday on the 30th, but the other obstacle with me is us agreeing to pay for 50% of the feasibility study. Would your board have a problem knowing that what incentive package we have offered on this letter dated August the 20th, knowing the incentive package that we have offered to create some economic development here in Lake City, would your board have a problem that if you walk away at the end of the 60, 75, 80 days feasibility period, that we be reimbursed if we agree to pay for the 50% feasibility period? I mean, feasibility study.
Well, I have not asked that specific
I got
question.
you.
I don't believe that that would be a problem.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that there's some risk involved with starting ahead of that,
Right.
so I don't believe that that would be an issue.
Or if you continue with the plan like Mr. Beal said, which I'm all for, very supportive, then maybe the possibility of deducting that from our incentive package that we've offered.
Mhm.
You might want to present that to them.
Yeah, I can certainly do that as well.
I think that's what you mentioned earlier, right? That it
Yes,
could
it
come,
would.
that it could come out of that.
Okay,
The
I
50
just
our
wanted to hear it
50%
again,
could
that
come
it
out.
was confirmed. Yeah.
Or rather added back in, I guess, if it was coming out, yeah.
What's calling, depends on
Yeah.
what's calling.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
help you with
that
your
would-
motion.
that
Thank
is what
you.
I presented, so I already know that that would be agreeable.
That's good news.
Mhm.
Can we call into your, no, I'm teasing. Like to be able to call into your board meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any other questions.
I have another question,
Please.
and I'm sorry.
No, please.
So this is the opportunity, the discussion of the funding incentive, there's a few different references we've heard. Would that be structured under the existing agreement, or would there be a separate agreement for that?
Probably
That's
would be an addendum
Okay.
on how to structure, this board have to decide
Okay.
if y'all sign it. How that money is gonna be distributed, where,
Okay.
what milestones have to be met, et cetera.
That was a question that came up, but I see if it's an addendum, then you're not revising the initial one, that one would still be intact. Okay, that was the question.
So,
I just want to make sure I have that answer before I go on Tuesday.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Bill.
Mr. Kennan, stop me if we can't do this, and I'm not saying that we act on it and vote on it tonight, but could we all kind of come to an agreement that I believe you had mentioned that we set milestones, so we signed the agreement, we're past the 60 days, they're taking the building, they're working on the building. So basically they turn in receipts to us until we meet that for renovations of the building. It's not, I mean, is that,
That's one way to do it.
so I mean, would it be appropriate for us to kind of give a consensus that we would be okay with doing that? That way she can take that back to her board also, so that way there's no more questions after September 29th.
And then I would take that back to their attorney to work on the draft,
Right, so,
after their board meeting, obviously.
I mean, so would that be appropriate for us to to kind of get a consensus that that's how we would structure that?
Well, I think
incentive?
the more, information you give her for her board meeting, the better answer that's gonna
That's
come.
kind of how, and that's how I would see it anyways, is
See,
if we
yeah.
have this incentive package and, basically you draw on it until it's depleted. So as work is completed on the building,
That's the simplest, straightforward way to do it. Just run it till it's exhausted on improvements. And
We have other grants for capital improvements that have operated similarly, where after, this amount of time you submit your documents, so we could offer some suggestion if that's the path to start, our attorney offer some suggestion on the construct of that agreement.
yeah, I can't imagine a simpler way to convey it.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Ms. Cone, I assume that after your meeting next Tuesday on the 30th, if your board agreed to whatever we present tonight, which you seem to be in agreement with, that then Meridian would be willing to sign the agreement effective sometime the first week of October.
it'd have to be after our meeting, I think, wouldn't it?
No,
Oh, no, because
Well, they get it
we've
completed.
approved the
but
agreement.
we've already approved it, haven't we, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Yeah, we've approved
Yeah,
it. They
we've
just have
approved
to
it.
execute.
Will we have to wait until our meeting on the 13th?
No, if they bring us back an executed copy, we just bring it up as an item for us to execute, accept the executed copy and move forward.
Meaning that the Meridian executive staff could sign it the first week of October and start the feasibility period.
Correct.
Which we're gonna allow them to start the feasibility period tomorrow if they want to, right? They don't have to wait until they sign the.
Well, but she's got to still get it approved with her board as far as what we've discussed tonight. And I assume on how we're going to pay towards the feasibility period, even if they walked away in November. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. We have to make a decision on how that funding is done as to the feasibility study
Yes, sir.
specifically.
Okay.
You create another proposition. I think more propositions being created.
About the way it's conveyed.
Know about the amount of subject matters that have taken place prior to what the original conversation was. So in that case, the public has another bite at the apple because we've changed gears several times in certain subject matters, and which the public will not have a plan to speak on. When we went from discussing the Meridian to discussing a ascended package, and that was not a topic matter, not as turned into a proposition.
Mr. Chair, if you let them fill up, it's been a minute explaining that we can get the 3 minutes done quicker. Just here.
I appreciate what you're saying. Can we touch on the next item?
Can we touch on the,
Yeah, because it has to do with the conveyance of that, but I just, bear with me. So we've given them all the information that they need to go back to their board, have their meeting on the 30th. And there's nothing else that we've left unsaid.
I think our consensus, if I understood it, would be that if we agree to pay half and they back out, they reimburse us for the feasibility study.
Yeah.
Do I need to make a motion to that?
I think if we got the consensus, then we're waiting on their board essentially
To let us know.
to let us
Next
know.
Tuesday.
That way
Or
she
next
can present it. She'll come back and say they've agreed that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think it's actionable. Is what we're saying. It's not actionable.
I think
They
as
have
long
to
as
make a
they know what
decision.
our parameters are,
I
then
got you.
that they're gonna
Yeah.
come back with, these are the issues y'all discussed. And here's our response to those based on what Mr. Beal has requested.
Well, would that prevent them from signing the agreement the first week of October before our October 13th?
That'd be up to them, but it wouldn't legally.
Not legal. Okay, that's what I meant. Okay. Thank you, sir.
I think we've exhausted that item. Then, okay. All right. On to the next one. Todd Kennedy, Lakeshore Hospital Authority Attorney, discussion of possible action, City of Lake City zoning determination. Take it away, Mr. Kennedy.
You pretty much heard my request or what was stated at last meeting. We're waiting essentially on whatever information we received tonight and then a final determination from Meridian. I'll let Mr. Martin know that hopefully we'll have the answers we need, and that would be moving forward with signing the agreement with the retention of the 60-day feasibility study, which they've never brought up as a negative issue. And then they can take the action they believe appropriate, and I will ask them to try to have something by our 13th meeting.
Okay. We'll open this one up for public comments. Ms. Warren?
no, I'm gonna speak to the first item because probably questions. And if you can let the city extort you all, you can have time to listen to what the public has to say. You spent $600,000 letting the city just move y'all around like little children when y'all supposed to be a board of authority of your own selves and have attorneys. And then when I want to speak to another proposition that you created because you're horrible chair in conducting these meetings, even Brandon agreed and saying it. I don't know if he was being facetious or not. And then y'all can't even keep y'all own company together over in Live Oak, can't even meet the standards over there. So business wise, chairman wise, horrible. You should allow the public to have input. This is a major decision. And when new propositions are created, people can speak on them. You created these new propositions and then deny me the ability to be able to speak on it. And all I wanted to ask was, what was the Senate package? Because that was a different conversation than what she originally came up and spoke on. So all I want to know from the first question is, what is the Senate package and how much is it?
I don't recall the number.
What do you do with it? Do you have anybody that's of any intelligence on this board or on this diocese that wouldn't
It's in
know?
the public record. It was
I
in
don't,
the-
wait, it's not in the public agenda. This is a public meeting, so we can discuss it. It came up. All I'm asking you to do is just what is it? And
I
does
think it was
nobody know?
2.4 million?
And what is it for?
And it's fair package,
Yeah, what does it incentivize?
bringing X amount of jobs into the county. Or into the city.
So $2.4 million brain jobs or $2.4 million to use as incentive to do work on the hospital building. So which one is it? To bring jobs or do work?
It was both.
Besides being a horrible chair and this board being cowards when it comes to the city, ma'am, I would advise the Meridian board to take very close attention to what they're doing. Cause you cannot expect this board to have your back. You cannot expect this board to have your back. So please make sure that your board have your back and your attorneys have your back. This board would not have your back. I've seen them not have people back, just like they don't have your back when it comes to the city. They've allowed the city to hamstring them. As a matter of fact, I know almost for a fact, what's gonna happen is we're gonna have another delay game because I know the players over there at the city. I'm responsible for putting 3 of those black idiots in office. But what I will say is this. Don Rosenthal is gonna use the idea of the 11 properties that they want from the authority board as leverage to get what he wants. And so they're gonna be horseback trading off your deal. So it's not gonna wrap up in a timely manner. It's already, that wind is already blowing, that talk is already taking place. And so here again, we're gonna be somewhere in 26 still discussing Meridian, unfortunately. Hopefully y'all have a lot of patience, more than Jesus Christ, because it's gonna take a lot. I don't really see this deal happening no time soon, though these characters seem to be optimistic, but they hadn't taken any legal action. They hadn't done anything about it. Correct me
Thank
if
you,
I'm-
Mr. Warren.
Don't thank me, man. I ain't mean you ain't friends.
Mr. Warren, your time has expired. Thank you.
Well, my time is expired because you didn't let me speak on other issues. You said
Mr.
that,
Warren. Thank you.
but you want to kick me out. You want to be a big Douglas
No.
boy.
I just want to say thank you and keep it civil. Appreciate it. Are there any further public comments on this?
You Douglas think y'all important.
That's
What
it.
is this? Just, I didn't was so confused, man.
Yeah.
What is this? This is just,
They good boys.
this is number 2. I mean, I don't
Students,
like, I don't like to speak from the chair.
yes.
So. Maybe they can do that, you know.
Still be careful. They're gonna do like they did on Sarah Cole.
Well, shit happens. So this is number, if I understand, this is number 2 now? The
Yeah.
settlement proposal?
Yes, sir.
That's all of this? This has nothing to do with any sort of package that Meridian is going to get, is that right? This is just about the 164 action,
Yes.
is that correct?
Right.
Thank you, that's all I wanted to know. I have no comment on that, thank you very much.
Ms. Stevens has requested to comment on this as well. I'm gonna unmute her. Ms. Stevens, can you hear us?
I'm actually good. I'm not going to comment.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any further public comment? Okay. Thoughts of the board?
Well, you got the discussion possible action Columbia County as instructed. I contacted Mr. Foreman and he is,
Oh, I don't think we're done.
okay,
Done. Sorry. Thoughts of the board was
okay.
on the. Mr. Beal, you have any thoughts?
I have a few.
I always love to hear 'em.
And Mr. Kennon, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but did you get an opportunity to watch the city's last meeting? Whenever Mr. Martin had kind of given an overview of where we've been and where we are today. I did watch it and I was a little confused because it was hard to follow for me. I'm not an attorney by any means, not smart enough to be. But at one point he mentioned since the city was asked to be a part of this. And if anybody up here remembers when the Lakeshore Hospital Authority asked the city to be a part of this, I would like my memory to be refreshed because that is absolutely not, I mean, if that's the case, if that's his recollection, can we ask them to butt out? I guess would be my
didn't- I
question.
didn't listen to his comments, but if I had to interpret those, it was as part of the 164th conflict resolution that between the Lakeshore Hospital and the city of Lake City relative to the zoning issue.
Okay, so I want to just give a brief recap from my recollection, just to keep everybody up to date. So an independent taxing authority board, not dependent on any other government in Columbia County or Lake City, we're entering into an agreement with Meridian Healthcare to take over ownership of the hospital building. We got a letter from the city manager stating after they requested ownership of the building to move City Hall and a civic center in, and we said, sorry, we've already got this going on. The next week or 2 weeks later, maybe, we get a letter saying, oh, it's only single family residential. It's not zoned to be a hospital. Apparently it would have been okay to be a civic center, the city hall, but not a hospital. So they interjected themselves into our business. We never asked them to. We asked them to, we hired a special attorney, asked them to kind of, whatever the legal word is, to take it back, takesy backsy. And he said that they did, and if I recall, the letter that they sent was very open-ended, and we felt that that wasn't sufficient enough. We hired outside counsel to do this chapter 164. We had the meeting. We, talked about everything but the land use. We talked about safety issues. We talked about radios. We talked about everything but land use. This boils down to land use. It doesn't boil down, has nothing to do with what's in the agreement. It has nothing to do with anything else. All we need to know from the city of Lake City is there an issue with the land development regulations? And I really wish back in March we would have went and asked for legal intervention and asked the court system to decide it for us, because here we are 6 months later, still dealing with it, still not having an answer from the city. So I'm very hopeful. Mr. Martin said that he does listen to our meetings. I'm hopeful that they will take up at the next meeting. I hope that we have something back from Meridian. They can take up and they can say, you're right. It has nothing to do with anything else, but a hospital is permitted to be there. A mental health hospital. It's still a hospital. It's still a public use. So I did not like how it was portrayed to the public that they were asked to be involved in this, because we never once asked them to be involved in this.
I think what we did ask them to do was be definitive on their zoning. And we still haven't gotten that answer. Um. So we can do that, Mr. Kennedy. We can ask them on September 29th. 29th, is that what it is?
Well, we get a response hopefully by the 1st, then we'll have something very concrete, and then they at least would met the criteria they've expressed to me that they need to move forward.
Okay. Mr. Kennedy.
Mr. Bill, I too watched the video, or excuse me, 1 hour and 53 minutes for my other fellow board members. If you'd like to watch the meeting where it was, the city attorney was called on for an update to the city regarding Meridian's proposal with the hospital authority. And I even listened to it on 2 occasions. And you're right, Mr. Bill, he did say, as well as the mayor said, that they both call into our meetings, and they're probably on the phone right now, that whenever it's on our agenda, and hopefully I won't say anything to upset them, but Mr. Kennan, on your notes and on your comments with Mr. Martin, the city attorney, full-time city attorney, I too was very interested in some of his comments. And the letter that was written to Mr. Williams on October 24th, 2024 by the city manager, Mr. Rosenthal. In that letter I have here before me, he discussed all he refers to as a section, several sections of the land development regulations, and that it was in non-conforming use, and because it had ceased being used for a period of 6 months. And determining what Mr. Martin said on that meeting on the 15th of September with the city, I took from it that they now, I don't know whether they had a land use administrator in place back a year ago or not, but they now do. And that's why I mentioned at the meeting that we had 2 weeks ago, the letter dated on September the 3rd to Mr. Kennan from Mr. Martin included a man's name by the name of Scott Tomlinson. Never seen any CCs before in any of the communication with the city, but on this particular letter it does. And then I found out from listening to Mr. Martin's comments that Mr. Thomason was considered the land use administrator for the city. And in his last part of his comments, he stated that once he got back with the legal counsel from the hospital authority and determined that the hospital authority and Meridian were ready to sign the agreement, then it would be turned over. The city would be out of it, from my interpretation, and then it would go to the determination of the land use administrator as to whether it's considered non-conforming use. Meaning that it sounds to me like if Meridian signs this on this agreement the first week of October of 2025 and proceed with their feasibility period, and then if they come back and get to work and start spending money, then it sounds to me like down the road that if this land use administrator finds some clause in there as referred to in Mr. Rosenthal's letter in their land development regulations that they may say, no, you cannot have a CO, a certificate of occupancy. And that may be in 2027. And out of curiosity, where in the heck will we be then? I know where I will be, but where will the hospital authority board be? I don't know where they'll be either, but I mean, but can you look into your crystal ball and maybe get some answers on that?
I'll call Mr. Martin and ask him for the definitive procedure that they're gonna follow, assuming Meridian is willing to execute the agreement.
And the reason why I say that is because, as Mr. Bill just stated, they're involved in this chapter 164 conflict resolution. And at what point will that be over? I haven't gone back and read the statute, but we had a meeting on March the 12th, and as Mr. Bill said, that was 6 months ago. But when do we finally say that that conflict has been terminated?
If the city signs off on it, then Mr. Arline and Mr. Anspacher will get together and draft a document that will terminate the 164 as all conflicts issues have been resolved. That's my understanding.
When will that be signed? After?
I'll find that out. I'll find that out. I'll have to have Mr. Arline.
Okay, all right. I didn't mean to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
It's Bill.
one follow-up to that, and it made me think of it when you said it. He did say that it would be up to the land development or the land development administrator.
Mr. Tomlinson.
Right. But I don't know that would be sufficient because of the chapter 164. I think that they have to give us
I'm gonna get with Mr. Arline to see how that has to be drafted into, i.e. the decision of the
Because
administrator.
that gives us the
to
protection.
resolve the 164 meeting. Yeah, that has to be incorporated into that, I believe.
That way, we have some protection to tell Meridian that, no, you will get a CO because we went through this chapter 164 and the city owes us more than the building inspector. Let's say so. The city owes us a yes, we agree, in my opinion.
Mr. Chairman.
Go for it. Yeah.
I assume what you're saying that they owe us, that they need to say that we are considered a non-conforming use status.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like we have.
Illegal.
Legal non-conforming use status. yes.
Doesn't it go further than that? I mean, they spelled it out and we capitulated, hence the prescription's written and we've agreed. So really just adding something to this is just adding it after the fact. Yeah.
I think Dell has a,
If I may, Mr. Chairman, and this is just for Todd when he gets clarification. I guess what I don't understand is simply this. Decisions of the land use administrator are typically appealable. So in most comp plans, the land use administrator makes a decision. There is a way to appeal that decision if it's not to what you believe are the requirements of the ordinance. What I've always understood is when Mr. Rosenthal wrote the letter in 24, he was acting as the land use administrator. So the appeal process that then followed was the 164. The 164 has never been concluded, but the 164, not a future land use administrator, was to resolve the issue. And what I've never understood is how they could just say 164 no longer applies because we've hired somebody in that position. The 164 process that we participated in was technically the appeal to the land use administrator decision that they wrote in the letter. Now that's what my understanding always was. So I did not understand the whole part about a now new land use administrator will make a determination. The city's land use administrator or their designee, which I assumed was the city manager, made that call back in 24. And we've been arguing about it ever since, which technically the argument is the appeal through the 164 process. And at some point we quit following the 164 process. We as an authority were sort of pushed to the side and decisions were made independent of us. And that's not what 164 is supposed to do. So I don't understand that part.
I'll get that clarified by Mr. Arline. I think we need something from the 164 that gives clarification that we are a legal non-conforming use and that officially resolves the dispute as it was initially framed.
Technically, if in the 164 resolution process, we would have all agreed and said, let it go back to the new administrator, then I guess technically that was a resolution, but nobody did that.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, if I may add to Mr. Williams' comments, memory recall is a great thing. Can't believe I have it, but in that discussion to the city council, Mr. Martin also stated, and I wish my fellow board members would go and watch it because it's very, very enlightening. Also stated that the city would not be giving up their policing powers, and that most of the discussions that he has had included members of the 164 committee, which would have been Mr. Walker, the mayor, Mr. Butler, the chief of police, who wasn't even on the 164 committee, and Mr. Rosenthal, the city manager. So he enlightened his board, meaning the city council, that they would still be able to have the policing powers. Thus, I'm sure the policing powers from the 164 would go and tell Mr. Tomlinson, the land use administrator, no, find the clause in the regulations to deny it. Not being paranoid. If I was, Ms. Cone, I'll be to see y'all next week.
Mr. Chair, I tend to agree with Mr. Williams that I thought that was what the 164 was. They said, no, it's not a legal non-conforming use. We said, but it is. And then before we could go to court, we have to do the 164. We got the 164 and they started talking about radios and sally ports and everything else that had nothing to do with the land use regulations at all. Nothing. Zilch, zero. And Meridian was generous enough to agree to talk to them and add that to the agreement, which in my opinion, they never had to do or should have done. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. They already had plans to do most of that anyways, and they told us those plans verbally. I have no reason not to believe that they weren't going to do it. But it had nothing to do with land development regulations, and I think that we need to go and tell the city, I'd ask, we need to tell the city that we want resolution to the chapter 164. And this is our expectations. We need to know that we are a legal, non-conforming use. Period.
Will do.
Any further thoughts? Board?
But this won't be contingent on 11 properties, right? That's the 164 is not contingent, because it's gonna come up as contingent.
Oh, I'm sure, but it's not.
All right. Move on to the third item on the agenda, discussion and possible action, the approval of the survey deed of conveyance to Columbia County, Florida, regarding Lakeshore Hospital Authority Administrative Building.
As instructed, I called Mr. Foreman and he is going to provide me with an update.
I've not heard anything, Mr. Chairman.
So we're waiting for an update.
I will get another update towards the end of the week.
Any public comments on it?
There's no proposition.
I'm asking. All right. Thoughts from the board?
Can I ask Sylvester a question?
Let's do it for board member comments. How about that? We'll do that? Because I'm getting ready to say board member comments. Perfect time.
Sylvester,
Yes, ma'am.
you made a comment earlier that your community was good with Meridian moving in there.
Yes, I think Mr. Bowden and even Councilwoman Young, I think, if I'm not mistaken, she's talked to at least one of your trustees, and most everybody that I communicate and have communicated with as an advocate for the community in most cases agree. It was an early on process. We wanted Florida Gateway, but when that was not an alternative, Meridian came on board and we all agreed to stomach it. If you remember, Ms. Chauncey, the only reason we all agreed to stomach it is because we said we were not gonna do 7-county drug rehab thing. And that was the compromise between myself, my community, the board, and Meridian. And that's how everybody got to the point
Okay.
of supporting.
I'm not interested in any politicians. I'm not interested in any entities. I'm interested in the people in your community.
Right. The people in the.
That's all I'm interested
The
in.
people in the community said as long as that Meridian agreed not to bring a 7-county rehab center, that it would keep the drug users or the drug people that need rehabilitation out on Michigan Street, then the Black community would be acceptable to a mental health hospital, so to speak, but not any drug activities, because all you would have is people fighting over territory, and it may bring me out of retirement if it's that much flow.
And is that how it's going?
It's going fine. Now, we just waiting for the jobs to come up, and I bought some property around here. I'm ready to build some real estate so they can come and have a place to live, some of their workers.
Is that how it's going, Ms. Cohn?
Ma'am,
That was fine. That is,
With the drug people being at the other place and,
well, our proposal includes, as you've indicated, leaving medication assisted treatment and the substance abuse outpatient program where it is at on that campus, as we talked about.
okay.
I think that that's explicitly spelled out in the agreement.
Here's,
I just wanted a clarification on that from both of you.
okay.
Thank you.
good. Thank you, Mr. Charles. Mr. Kennedy,
None other than I apologize to any of my fellow board members if I have offended you.
What about public?
And the public, I'm sorry, yes, and the public.
Mr. Bullock,
No, I don't have that.
Mr. Beal.
Just briefly, I say it with, certainly with respect that, you know, I think a lot of times we go over on comments and I think we're here to listen to the public. That's why we have the sunshine law. We're here to listen to the public, and I'm grateful whenever we have public participation. But I would like just to make a very general statement, a reminder to everybody that we do have office hours available. And a lot of times I think we would be more productive in these meetings if we left the public comments to public comments instead of a back and forth with question and answers. And that's all that I have to say, but I appreciate it, everybody. And Mr. Kennedy, I'm gonna go back and watch some videos just to make sure you haven't offended me, but I don't recall you offended me anytime recently.
If I do, I hope I continue.
We're adjourned.